Hello friends, I welcome you to Kalkatha channel. Today's story is Old Wooden Box. Let's begin. I work for a construction company and a few days ago were hired by a Catholic priest to do some renovations on an old church. While we were tearing down a wall, we found a small recess behind it. It was in a tiny room that had no entrance, as if it had been sealed off from the rest of the building inside. There was a long black wooden box. The box was about 2 meters long and very old. The wood was damp and rotten. There was something written on the side, but it was too worn and faded to make out. The box was nailed tightly shut and there didn't seem to be any way of opening it. When I showed it to our boss, he told me to contact the priest and tell him about it. When I managed to get the priest on the phone and described the box to him, he became silent for a long time. Then he told me he would come over in the morning and deal with it. In the meantime, he asked me to leave it somehow safe. I carried the box into the church and left it in a corner. I figured it would be safe there overnight. Since the church was not in use by that time, it was almost evening, so I packed up my things and went home. The next day, when I arrived for work, my boss came hurrying over. About that box you found, he said. There is a problem. Last night, two of the night watchmen came across it, and you are not going to believe this. The morons went and opened it. I hurried into the church and found the two night watchmen sitting on the ground. My co-workers were standing around them. I suddenly had a very bad feeling in my stomach. Beside them, the wooden box lay open. The priest was standing there, shaking his head. I warn you, he said. I warn you not to open it. It's too soon. What's wrong with them? I asked, pointing to the night watchmen. They haven't said a word since we got here, said my boss. It's like they can't even hear us. You should bring them to the hospital, said the priest, although it's probably already too late. Baffling mutation I had ever seen. Whatever it was, it really looked terrifying. I could see that my co-workers were very disturbed. To calm them down, the priest went around the church clutching his rosary beads, sprinkling holy water on everything, and reciting something in Latin. The night watchmen were taken to the hospital, and we debated whether we should call the police. The priest loaded the wooden box into the boot of his car. Then he stopped and hung his head. He could not even look us in the eyes. I'm sorry for all of you, he said sadly. You don't have long to live. With that, he drove off, and we were left scratching our heads. In the days that followed, strange things began to happen. We heard that one of the night watchmen died in hospital. He had a heart attack, even though he was only in his early 30s. The other was transferred to a mental institution. Three of my co-workers came down with a mysterious illness and had to be hospitalized. That evening, as I was leaving work, I tripped on some rubble and tore a ligament in my leg. It meant that I could not work and was forced to recover at home. I had too much time on my hands, and strange thoughts were swirling around my head. I could not get the words of the priest out of my mind. Today, I tried calling him several times, and eventually, he answered his phone. We talked for over 2 hours, And he told me a lot. Perhaps he told me too much. Me, I have to know what exactly was that thing. Him, he's died many years ago. At one time, he was a human being, or I should say, two human beings, two deformed children. They came from a small village in the south, but their parents were extremely poor and they ended up selling them to a slave dealer. Somehow they ended up being put on display in a traveling freight show that toured the country. Me. So I don't understand if they were two people. How did they become one person? Do you mean they were Siamese twins? He said. Are you sure you want me to tell you about this? I said yes. I really want to know. He said, good, good. I wasn't going to tell you everything, but what harm can it do? No, they were not Siamese twins. They were not born that way. However, they did have severely deformed faces at that time. There was a religious cult. They acted in secret. You will have to forgive me for not saying the name of the cult aloud, but it has to do with devil worship. Their leader was a man by the name of Mononobe Tengoku. He went to the freak show and paid large sums of money for specimens, peculiar aberrations. He brought the twins, you see, for his collection. I said, what did he want them for? He said, there is a legend about a certain occult ritual. It states that it is possible for someone to create a very powerful curse. They say that if you put two poisonous insects in a jar, they will fight to the death, and you can use the one that survives to make the curse more potent. Something about combining the live one with the dead one. Well, Tengoku used that method on human beings, taking that little story about the curse as inspiration. Tengoku decided to try it with people. He conducted his terrible experiments in a hidden room in the basement. He left the twins alone in that room without food or water. I said, how long were they locked in the room? He said, long enough for one to eventually kill and cannibalize the other. Quite some time, I imagine. I said, I would rather not imagine such things. I said, he created a monstrosity on purpose. He said, Tengoku did not regard it as that. He was completely enraptured with what he had created. In the time of legends, there was a mythic beast called Ryon-Mensukana. It was a two-headed, four-armed monster. Tengoku named his creation after that legend. He and his followers worshipped it like a evil deity. They locked it in a room and starved it to death. Then they performed dark occult rituals in honor of it. I said, I see. He said, Tengoku used Ryomen Sukana as a sort of cursed talisman, if you will. He believed that he had created an unparalleled evil, one that could kill large number of people, an angel of death to an angel of death. I said, who was the target of the curse? He said, every living thing in this world, every single person on earth. I said, what? Was Tengoku crazy or something? I said, you mean every disaster in the last 100 years had been caused by this Roman Sukuna? He said, exactly. I said, this is unbelievable. The cult has branches all over the world. He said, they do. Their goal is the destruction of every living thing in this world. I said, but this could not be true. It's just a coincidence, right? He said, that the Roman Sukana has appeared before every disaster that has occurred in the last 100 years. Well, it would have to be a very amazing coincidence. I said, where is the Roman Sukuna now? He said, somewhere safe until it is needed again. I said, you are bringing it somewhere else? He said, in the future, yes. He said, I don't know precisely. The Roman Sukuna determines what happens. We can only watch from afar and revel in the wanton death and destruction. I said, why have you told me so much? He said, I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter. You see, you won't be alive much longer, and anyways, who would believe you? I said, but how can you do this? It's evil. It's meaningless slaughter. What goal does it serve? What could be the point? He said, let us leave it at that. Don't call here again. After he hung up the phone, I began racking my brain, trying to figure out what I should do. I could not warn anybody. He was right. No one would believe me. I immediately booked a flight out of the country. At least I could try and save my own skin. I am on my way to the airport right now. I hope I can get away in.